Hello there, everyone. What's going on? I'm Josh, and I'm going to be responding to this bullshit from the American Thinker. The title is Teen Vogue Calls for the Abolishment of Private Property, Capitalism. Not the only institution that's done that. It's not even really the first magazine that's probably done that. I think coronavirus has kind of, and I've read as far as to see that the person who you talk about says this too. It's just that, coronavirus didn't create a lot of the problems that we're dealing with right now. It just exacerbated the fucking problems. But we'll get to that. The author of this is Eric Utter. So, like, fucking Eddie Vedder's brother or some shit. Anyway, Teen Vogue recently published an op-ed by columnist Candice Mallet, in which she declared that no one should have the right to own property. I bet you she's okay with personal property, not private property. And those are not the same fucking thing. She called for the elimination of landlords while averring that an eviction crisis is coming due to the coronavirus pandemic's heavy toll on the United States, which she says is evidence of the failures of capitalism. Mainly, yes, because, people constantly love to talk about how America's great, capitalism's great, blah, 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 blah. But on any given day, there's like hundreds of thousands of people who don't have a home, and there are millions of homes that are left vacant by hedge fund companies and private equity firms and all this other shit. And instead of, letting the people who are houseless live in these places, they just want to make as much profit as fucking humanly possible, which is kind of evil and is inherent to capitalism. you know. And the fact that, evictions can happen is kind of fucked up. And the fact that, turning people's water off and heat off and all this other shit can happen and is legal in this country is really fucked up. Because it's like you basically get to torture and kill people for profit, basically. And it's really fucked up. And that's not even getting into, the historic ramifications of redlining, slavery, Jim Crow. The list goes on. School to prison pipeline, a bunch of other shit. Anyway, Mallet noted that the pandemic didn't create this housing crisis, but it did further expose the cruelty of payment-based housing, mainly because literally people are going to get evicted during a goddamn national health emergency, which is fucked up, to put it mildly. And the people who are trying to evict people are the worst ghouls on the fucking planet. And they were created by drinking the US fucking Kool-Aid. America's great, capitalism's great, blah, 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 blah. Housing's a privilege, not a fucking right, shit like that. But it did further expose but she herself may have just exposed the futility of payment-based higher education. God, capitalism really is a fucking mind poison. If you don't fight against it, it just fucking corrupts your brain to the point when it's just jelly. You're like black, rotten fucking jelly. She rambled on. I assume it's probably not a ramble. It's actually, what I'm doing right now is a fucking ramble, basically. What I think she did is more express grievances and frustration, and you're just being a cunt. Like, that's what this fucking boils down to. She rambled on. Instead of seeing housing as a right and something that should not be commodified, it shouldn't be because we need it to fucking survive. The state enlists its own armed forces, sheriffs and police, to remove occupants from residences if they cannot pay rent, which is true and severely fucked up. And again, it doesn't sound like a fucking rant or ramble. Literally just pointing out the facts of the fucking country we live in. The lack of protections for non-landowners should be to no surprise from a country founded on the genocide and colonization of indigenous peoples. Very true. Um, literally, this country was founded by a bunch of slave owners who talked about freedom, but not freedom for the people they owned. Which, also, sheriffs and police, at least in America, were very much created to be slave patrols, which were meant to drag, kicking and screaming, black people who were free and in free territory. Because the United States, and the non-slave states were like, we don't have slavery, but we're not going to protect people who are getting ripped from here back into slavery. And I mean, like, yeah, we damn near obliterated the fucking indigenous peoples of this goddamn continent. It's not just America, Canada, and who colonized fucking Mexico and Central and South America did that shit as well. And the fact that we're here right now is also proof of colonization. Fuck the 13 colonies, for fuck's sake. Like, how can you be like, this country is not colonized, all this other shit, And like, how can you claim that the history of, the U.S. is always usually taught from the point of view of the people who own people, is not colonized history. It's literally history from the perspective of colonizers. That's a problem. Mallet ended by stating, we need a housing movement based on a rejection of the construct that any one person should own this Earth's land. Which again, yeah, kind of, that's true. Stupefyingly, Teen Vogue took to Twitter to tout the piece with an excerpt reading, while we're working to abolish the police, we must also work to dismantle what the police were put here to protect. Property. It's true. Slave patrols and... Anyway. Why is a fashion magazine aimed at teenage girls espousing policy prescriptions to the left of Mao Zedong? I mean, broken clocks and all of that. Mao had, some, fuck landlords, that seems to be like a universal, correct idea, because fuck them, they literally, like, I literally just watched, I didn't watch it just like before, but I watched, because I started, when Patriot Act started coming out, I watched that, and I just stopped watching it, and I watched one of the most recent episodes that had to do with the eviction crisis and coronavirus and shit like that, and yeah, it illuminated a lot of fucked up things about, private property. Anyway, we must work to dismantle property. Private property, yes. Personal property, no. If the number of young folks currently burning buildings and toppling statues is any indication, the online rag has some readership. I mean, the fact that things fucking existed for decades. Also, I love how you call Teen Vogue a rag when what the fuck do you consider American Thinker? Fucking... and some influence. Or maybe it's just catching up to what has already occurred and is making an attempt to seem cool and woker than thou. No doubt Mallet thinks food and clothing should also be freed from the cruelty of the current payment-based market system. I need to screenshot this and literally share the entire article with the Twitter account I follow called Accidentally Left Wing. Because, yeah. Again, fucking... It's so weird when people just bleh stuff out that it's like, yes. Like, it's like food and clothing should be freed from the cruelty of the current payment-based market system. Yes. Yes. Because we need clothing and food to not die. Same with water. Commodities should not be commodified, comrade. Or at least not privately owned, Worker cooperatives could probably do the same thing for cheaper. And, make sure that people aren't getting fucking, exploited. uh, of course, that might make hypocrites of the fine folks at Teen Vogue. Why? Not that its readers would notice. If ignorance were virtue, they would all be Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was a vile sadomasochist, just not even a sadomasochist. She was just a fucking sadist. She liked watching people slowly suffer and die. So, Mother Teresa was a fucking capitalist. She exploited people's pain. No, fuck that. Mother Teresa was a goddamn Cenobite. A fucking, like, she was basically like the Dr. Cenobite from fucking Hellraiser 2. Like, because the fucking Cenobite that's created by the Doctor is so, like, evilly fucked up. Like, the Cenobites in the original movie, and the Cenobites who show up, in the second movie, like the, Pinhead, his gash, that's literally what they're called. That's what a group of Cenobites is called, the gash. They literally don't fuck over innocent people. More or less. Kirsty's kind of a gray area because she touched the fucking box, but she didn't know about it. It's a whole fucking thing. But, usually the people who get the punishments kind of deserve the punishments that the Cenobites. But, like, anyway. I fucking love Hellraiser. I like Clive Barker's stuff, too. I'm actually currently reading a book that actually has the Cenobites in it, and I'm also reading the original thing that Hellraiser's based off of. Anyway. If queried, I'm certain Mallet would say that birth control should be free for all, too. Own sex toys like vibes and things. Like vibes? Like vibes? In the sex issue, Teen Vogue will surely call for the abolishment of life and liberty. Both mere constructs evolved from white patriarchal privilege. Which is not actually true because, life and liberty are concepts that are not necessarily linked to one race. Life and liberty as it's been interpreted in this country, yeah. That literally is evolving from white patriarchal privilege because, again, people who came up with this fucking shit were slave-owning white people, white men. Has to catch up with the Democratic Party, And then, I personally love this. This was done by Monica Showalter with use of public domain image, which I'm assuming is the Karl Marx part of this. Which, it's so funny that you guys always go back to Marx, but there aren't people who are more recent who actually are able to be more articulate, like Kropotkin, like Angela Davis. Like, there aren't recent people who talk about these ideas and actually articulate them better and have more experience with, exploitation and, they have a better experience than Karl Marx did. It's like, it's just always fucking just Karl fucking Marx. Just always Karl Marx. Never anybody else. Like, I know you hate black people, but, like, give some fucking credit to some black thinkers when it comes to this shit. It's fucking, like, you like, Anyway. Yeah. Before I end the video, let's just go back to if ignorance were a virtue, they would all be Mother Teresa's. Motherfucker, you're willfully ignorant. Again, because, the fact that you're like, how dare people say that, food and things should be free? Which even if food and water and clothes were free, that would still Like, that wouldn't mean that the economy would shut down. It would just mean that, one, obviously the people who make the food would be compensated, you know, just because, free means free at the point of sale. It doesn't mean. But also, we created fucking money, so we can just not use money anymore. Barter system. Um, but anyway, like, there's so many things that, like, worker cooperatives are a thing. Farm co-ops are also a thing. Like, they could also just take, if we still have to use money, food co-ops and other, worker co-ops would be a better, choice than some fucking company that's worth billions of dollars that exploits their fucking workers, like Walmart. Like, it, this is linked to another fucking thing I responded to on this fucking shithole website, which is about this stupid fucking troll doll that has a stupid fucking button that was literally just meant to be a sensor for when you sit this fucking thing down. This fucking mother went fucking ballistic. It was like, is this like pedophilia? It was like, is this like supposed to make pedophilia and child, rape fucking okay? It's like, that's 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds. But no, it's because the fucking thing, the sensor was meant for them to sit the fuck down. And it was supposed to make noise when you set it the fuck down, like, like happy sounds of like, oh, I'm not on my fucking feet. Shit like that. It was like, they sexualized the sounds. Basically, it was like the Wayfair fucking thing and like Pizzagate and fucking QAnon just clusterfuck together. Like, they got this petition with like 500,000 fucking people signing this goddamn thing. And like, like Walmart and other, multi-billion-dollar companies have been exploiting the shit out of their workers for fucking decades, since they were established as companies by fucking capitalists. They have been fucking exploiting their workers and not giving them their fair share, not giving them a living fucking wage, and yet this one fucking outrageous, insane fucking person just fucking went off on a deep end and got all these signatures, but nobody gives a shit about their workers. Like Walmart, like, we need to get this toy off of Walmart. Walmart literally runs food drives for their employees because they don't pay them enough. Fucking think about that for a second. New Jersey recently only raised the fucking minimum wage to $10 fucking dollars. Only recently did they do that. And Walmart pays like bare minimum. It's like, but this fucking imaginary bullshit is fucking, like, this imaginary thing about a fucking troll doll being some pedophile like toy, like, this gets more signatures than anything else. Because apparently, fuck class solidarity, fuck objective reality at that fucking point. Anyway, take care of everybody. Take care of yourself, take care of everybody. Make sure, they're happy, not fucking lonely. Be better fucking people, basically. Ta-ta.